Okay. Please take a seconds to share this broadcast. Please
Where can
do share
you?
it on your group, share it on your handle, wherever. You're welcome, Mr. Sowore.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm trying to get to find out where to share it from, but I can't seem to find it. But that's fine.
Okay,
All right. Can
you
myself?
can't seem to find it. Okay, let me.
I'm trying to find out where to share it, but I'm not logged in. Maybe that's the reason. So maybe that's uh, maybe that's something that
Okay,
maybe it has to do with logging in. Maybe it's a tool that. But I could
okay.
quickly log in as well and just.
Yeah, please, if you would, that would be very great. And then I can
Log.
perhaps send you the link. I can send you.
All right. It's easier. It says log
Yes,
in
I
and then
can
you
send
get
you
a
the link
code.
on your WhatsApp.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes, it is easy.
very easy. So I think
So I'll
I'm.
send you a link now on the WhatsApp. I think just share it.
Okay. So now let me copy this. 168, 173. Oh, it's in that.
You're welcome once again,
Thank you
everyone,
for.
especially Showore. Had prepared. I had asked one of our team to read that Showore's profile so that we don't. There's no need asking for Mr. Showore to tell us about himself. Most virtually every one of us here is aware who Mr. Showore is. But just for the sake, for the benefit of those who might be watching us, I am even expecting that some non-Nigerians might be watching us. So ask one of our team to read out Mr. Showore's profile just briefly. Mal, can you please go ahead and do that?
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, and good evening from Nigeria. I'm talking from Ilori, North Central region of the country. Just by way of introduction, we know that Omoyele Sowore is a compound name as far as Nigeria's democracy is concerned. He was born in 6th of February 1971, a Nigerian human rights activist, a pro-democracy campaigner, former presidential candidate of AAC, and a founder of the online news agency called Sahara Reporters. Yele Sowore is from Eseodo, local government in Osun State, in Ondo State, in southwest Nigeria. He was born in the Niger Delta region of the country, comprising of 6 states of the southwest region, where he was also raised in a polygamous home with 16 children. At 12, he learned to ride a motorcycle so that he could go to lake to go fishing for food for his entire family every morning before going to school. Eh, so we studied geography and planning at University of Lagos. Funny enough, there's one of your alumnus member here in this assembly this evening. So perhaps you can hook up after the event. That's by the way. And his academic program was extended by 2 years after being expelled twice for political reasons and student activism. He was the president of University of Lagos Student Union government between 1992 and 1994, where he was involved in anti-cultism and anti-corruption advocacy. Sowore holds a master's degree in public administration from Columbia University And of course, he has been a voice in Nigeria's political space since his undergraduate days in the University of Lagos. And of course, we are aware he played a strong role in the military during the military junta in Nigeria. So he's a convener of the revolutionary movement, a movement that is spreading across the length and breadth of the country like wildfire. So on this occasion, I welcome Mr. Omoyele Sowore to this platform. Thank you.
Thank you so.
Okay, thank you so much. I think Mr. Sowore, let's hope that he will join us back. That's what I was saying about Nigerian network. Okay, the way people are managing in Nigeria is even commendable. Honestly, when you look at the fact that somewhere people can people can actually buy data for data about 50 gig data for less than $5 somewhere in the world, okay? And then in Nigeria, I don't know how much it is to buy 1 gig. How how Nigerian youths would want to survive without internet in this age. I personally don't understand it. And I think we have to step for being able to, manage or endure this kind of Nigeria that we have. Because honestly, I think it's difficult. I think it will be difficult.
Can you hear me
So,
now?
Michael, how are you here? Brief Mr. Sowore to properly connect.
I'm back. I'm back.
Michael,
Yeah, he's back on the platform. He's back on the platform.
can you hear me?
He's
Okay,
back
okay.
on the platform.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen it now. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Sowore,
Yes.
and for our viewers, this platform has been created solely to give up to people who have something to say, young youth especially things that have to do with politics, policy of government, and all other social issues. I want us to be able to, lend our own voice. I want us to be able to say something regarding whatever it is that is happening in Nigeria, right? And so today we have currently 4 additional members who will be asking questions. We are expecting more people, but I'm sure they must be having difficulty regarding to data or electricity. Mr. Abdullahi, I've been here earlier. He said his phone is low. Uh, Even though he's in Abuja, I wonder that there is no even electricity to charge mobile phone in Abuja. So, and if there's people in Abuja are struggling for electricity, I don't know how people in my village will manage it. So anyway, these are some of the things that would be discussing. Please put off your mic, if you can do that for us, please. Thank you. I think that will be you, Mr. Aladio. Come on, please off your mic. Okay, I'll go straight to my first question to Mr. Sowore.
Yes.
I am of Nigeria, and I am your fan. I want a better Nigeria. Severally, I've told myself, looking at what is happening, in Nigeria, I have told myself that I am, I am one of those people that are seceding mentally from Nigeria. But I tell you the truth is that I've not been able to do it. Each time I say, okay, I'm not even going to write anything about Nigeria. I will not say anything about Nigeria. Whether it's good, fine. If you know good, fine. But I've not been able to do it. I've been struggling
Yes.
with it. So I've come to the conclusion that I am perhaps one of those Nigerians who cannot pretend, who cannot stand on the fence. And I know that there are so many Nigerians who are standing on the fence as we speak, especially the people in the middle class, the people who can afford generator to power
100%.
themselves, to give them, to supply themselves electricity. All right. Some of these people seem not to care about what is happening in Nigeria.
All of them.
So I want to ask Mr. Sowore, are you with me, sir?
I'm here, yes. I'm back here now. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I hear you. So I am already asking you a question, and I'm saying that the our middle class, the middle class men and women who are comfortable relatively, who can afford generator to power to supply themselves electricity in Nigeria, they can afford to, maybe to change their tires as often as they need to because the roads are bad. They can afford private schools, private secondary, primary, and a university for their children. Most of them are standing on the fence. This is my own perception. All right. Saying that what are you doing as an individual, as the convener, what are you doing to please reach out to those people?
Thank you. Can you guys hear me loud and clear, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay, very good. So my answer might be different from what you expect. And my answer is that the question to me, to my mind, is what are we doing about people who want to fight? Which is a large number of disgruntled, aggrieved people in our polity who are willing to stake it, who are in their large numbers disenfranchised, they have been disempowered, disemboweled by the system. They are all over the place. We haven't even harvested those ones yet. So why worry about people who are, complacent, people who are still standing in the middle? Because the reason why I'm reacting or answering this way is that the people who are standing in the middle, they are the most educated, they are the most aware of the situation in the country. But they decided, for reasons best known to them, which is within their rights too, not to join in the battle for a better country. And we can go into the various reasons why they are not doing that. Some of them are completely fearful. Many of them are benefiting somehow from the system, even though they pretend not to. So many of them are hoping that they will become the next oppressors. If they are not governors or senators or House of Rep members, they are hoping to become their special advisors, senior, junior, anything advisors. Some of them are hoping that they will become their mistresses, or what do they call the ladies that offer themselves for cheap to these people. And I'm not in any way denigrating any class. But there are class of Nigerians who are very, very upset with the system, whose consciousness has risen to the level of wanting to fight. But they need us. They need us to lead that sector. They need us to lead that class. We haven't been able to reach all of them completely. And until we are done with all these people, in my view, mobilizing them to the barricades, why worry about people who are too satisfied or who are too complacent or too afraid to take it on? This what I'm sharing with you has been my experience last few uh, years, particularly since 2008, when I re-entered the fight for a new Nigeria uh, that we are still battling with or battling for now. So that would be my answer to this very great question you asked uh, regarding what I've seen on the field. I'm sharing with you my battle experiences and feedback on the field. We have a lot of people, young people, who want to fight, who just need mobilization, who need guidance, who need a little bit of support here and there. When I mean support, they're not even looking for money. But sometimes they want to be sure that if they get into trouble, there are lawyers to help them, uh, you know, and some other support system that may be in place for fighters like them. And until it's when you get to these people that the ones who are sitting on the fence, as you claim, or as we now know them or they're called, will find no other alternative than to get up and get up their behind and move along with it is going through the critical mass.
All right, Mr. Sowore, thank you very much. Now, my next question, maybe after my next question, I'd like Timileyin to get ready to ask his question. My next question would be, when we go back to history of Nigeria, talking about the amalgamation of the colonies by the British. In fact, one day for this, I learned that the name Nigeria actually was something that was formulated by Lord Lugard's girlfriend, who later became his wife. All right. So there is so much about Nigeria right now that I think it's even difficult to even call a country or a nation. Or well, it is a country. It's a nation. When you look at it is recognized, and we are under the federal government and their status. But I'm talking about there is no unity between the south, the north. Even when you look at the south, a lot of people, even in Yoruba, among the Yorubas, some people are saying, I am Ijesha, I am Ekiti. Other people are saying, I am Lagos, you know, and you see, even it extends even to the east. So I am now, as a Nigerian, I'm no longer a youth, okay, but as a younger, I mean, an adult, let me say I'm an adult, okay? I'm thinking in my head that there may be need for us to find time to sit down as citizens of that country and decide how do we want to live. And I'll give you a few reasons why I am saying so. Recently, there have been, a Sharia law that has given a judgment that a boy who sang, a singer, has been, convicted and declared to, he's supposed to be killed, to be executed. Now, people like me feel offended by that. And the reason is that we live in the same country. I mean, we call it our country. So anywhere I go, yeah.
Let me plead with you to let us compress the questions, so that others can participate as we go along. What I mean is make your questions compact so that let's be a little succinct in the questions. Otherwise, me too, I will forget the line of questioning because it's a little bit bulky. I just want to plead with you so that we can just make it direct, boom, 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 so that we can answer the questions as they are succinctly asked. So, and I want to cut you short on that one because you just mentioned something that that tickles my fancy about how we look at unity. First, there is unity, but when the unity we have is not the unity that is in your own interest. There's unity among the oppressors. When they are sharing money in Nigeria, looting the treasury, there is no Yoruba, there is no Hausa, there is no Christian, there is no animist, no Muslim. Bunch of thieves. They don't argue. They enter into the vault, share the money, and everybody walk away with as much loot as they can. It is that this is profitable for them that they create this unity.
I understand.
They create this. Wait. Let me just finish. Let me. So I don't want to lose my time. Just let me just finish. Okay. But so They create,
Yeah,
they have instruments.
I even where I am going.
I understand. You said something I wanted to respond
That
to. I don't want to lose track of it because you just mentioned also the Muslim guy who is being killed, who is going to
okay.
be killed for blasphemy in Kano.
Yeah,
And probably you are justifying that to show how we are not united. But you also have forgotten that a pastor
yeah,
in Port Harcourt, who is not from Kano, also said he wants to kill somebody for abusing his father, who is Oyedepo. So that's what I'm telling
yeah,
you. Within that
yeah,
class, there's unity. There's unity of stupidity, of bigotry, of greed. But they use other instruments to divide you and I, to make you feel like you're Yoruba, you're Hausa. What we need is the unity of the oppressed. But there's unity of oppressors. They're united. There's no difference between Tinubu and Buhari or Gambari or who is that guy that started Boko Haram in Borno State? Aloma
Mohammed Yusuf now. Mohammed Yusuf.
there's no unity among the oppressors, you know. So, and when you are doing the analysis, don't cherry pick. Don't say that there's a blasphemy candidate in Kano, and you forget that Daddy Freeze is also a candidate for blasphemy or extrajudicial killing because Pastor Ibiyemi has already put him out to be clubbed to death by Christian fanatics. So, just as you have a Christian fanatic in Kano, there are also Christian fanatics in the south, and the Ibiyemi signifies that, and he just belched it out on the pulpit. So, without understanding this concept of where they are coming from, probably we will be confused about where we are going to. Too. Is the reason why you see that I'm not one of the people agitating for dividing Nigeria because I have been around these problems for so long. I know where we are headed. You divide Nigeria, you have just divided the problem. You mentioned the fact that even in Yoruba land, you know, we have our own type of racism. You know, the people in Abeokuta think that Ijebus are inferior to them. The Ijebus think that the Ekitis are inferior to them. I mean, inferior to them. The Ekitis, they call the people in Eseodo, Araodo. The people in Lagos call the Ekitis Araoke. You know, all those kind of languages already embedded in our culture that seem to perpetrate this hierarchy of superiority. They are all in all tribes. But that's not even my concern. My concern is that after you break up Nigeria, every part of Nigeria will be broken up with their own oppressors, more ferocious, more insidious, more greedy, that they will do to you even worse what they are doing to you in this enlarged Nigeria now. So I'm sorry, I didn't intend to cut you short, so please, just to get me right. I just want us not to lose track of your line of questioning because when it goes a little bit longer, even me at my age, my memory is not that sharp anymore.
okay. I understand you. And my destination was actually I was going to ask you when you look at all these peculiarities in these countries, and I don't believe that it's complex because I've lived in India and I know that India is vast, the culture is vast, the people is over 1 billion people. Okay, so I don't subscribe to those who think Nigeria is complex and all of those things. But what I'm saying is that there is probably the need for us to sit down and agree on the terms of our being together as a nation. And that's why, because I think it is the lack of it that's making you see Biafra say we want to go. And some people are already gathering and saying we are the Oduduwa, that we want to go. You understand? So, and I'm talking about those of us who the oppressed. I'm not talking about Tinubu and the big pastors and the big imams who are the same thing, all right? Because it works for them. But I'm talking about those of us whom Nigeria has never worked for. I'm telling you, as I'm now 40, but the only thing was because one governor, when I was retaking WAEC in 2000, year 2000, paid for my WAEC. That is the only thing. I think about maybe 1,200. That is the only thing. Every other thing I have had to pay, I have had to suffer and do it for myself. So I'm talking on behalf of those of us, the oppressed. Is it possible for the oppressed to find a forum where we can agree and discuss. If possible, let's forget about these people. How many years more do people like Buhari, Oshibajo, and even what do you call it, Tinubu? How many years more do they have? But I'm talking about those of us who are under 50, or maybe a few other people who might also be conscious to sit down. I think so. And if you agree with me, how can somebody like you facilitate such, so that some people behind?
Can you hear me?
Hello, did you get my question? Yes, okay, I can hear you now.
Yes, I got your question. We cut off towards the end. So exactly, when there is no way the system as presently composed can accommodate you in the conversation that needs to happen. There is no way the system as presently composed can sit down with you. The system was not designed to sit down with you. The system is designed to talk over your head and to impose itself and its ideals on you, whether you like it or not, by hook or crook. So, what are you facing now? You are faced with a system that does not make any provision for your kind of ideals, your ideas, and your ideologies, your philosophy. So, what do we have left as an option? Is to organize and create our own system that will allow the conversation you are asking for to happen. Is to force to put to birth a brand new system that allows your ideas, my ideas, our ideals, our genuine desires and aspirations to be accommodated. And that is where the idea of revolution came from, because you are not going to change the system by waiting to be invited to a meeting. Even if democratically today they decide that they want us to have a conference, whether it's national or regional, you and I can never make it to the conference. Do you know why? Just to remind you or rejig your memory, just the legitimate participation in elections in 2008 and 2019, what did they do? They refused to allow me to participate in debates that I'm entitled to as a candidate who was the most popular third presidential candidate in that election. They did their polls, everything revealed that in some markets I'm number one, in some markets I'm number two, and yet, I was not allowed to participate in a debate, just a debate, to espouse my ideas on national TV, because they don't want the ideas to reach anybody. And it will surprise you, it wasn't just the government or INEC or NBC that did it. Some of the people that opposed my participation in the debate were young people like you and I, NGOs, CSOs who were represented on that platform. They said, no, Sowore is out of control. If you go and ask him to debate now, nobody can control what he will say. And then came back and said, what if, some of them suggested that, what if they asked me to send an agreement not to say certain things on national TV? Will I agree? They convince themselves, which is true, I agree with them, that I can never commit myself to any agreement that will not allow myself, I mean, speak freely on national TV or national issues. And as a result, I was cut off from the presidential debate. I even went to court. The judges refused to hear my case. So there is no place for you on the table. No place for me. No place for Timila and David, Oluwatosin. There's no place for Michael. There's no place for Babatunde Alade Komo. So in Nigeria today, no place for bright people. No place for good people. No place for ideals. It's a place for just crooked politics, prebenda politicking that we have seen in Nigeria that have destroyed the country. The only solution, in my view, and this is a view that is now shared by a lot of people, is a revolution, a revolutionary process that will make them listen to the critical mass that have been subdued over these years. So that's what I think about that question and my answer to it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Sowore. I'll go to Timileyin now. Please feel free to ask your question.
Thank you for having me. And my question goes thus: in the last election in 2019, I think I acted as a presiding officer in the local government in the Jebu, and then I had a lot of people hear their opinion about all the candidates, and then most especially Sowore. And many of them were like, if this guy could have maybe considered going for maybe a legislative position, it could have made more sense to them, and maybe you could have put polls and all that. And having this opportunity before me to ask him a direct question, I would not be asking him such question right now, and rather I will be asking a question that will make us understand how it processes information, and how he would handle such a situation. First, I will ask, had he ever considered such opinion, like, let me go for a legislative position, perhaps a senatorial or a House of Assembly position? That's first. And secondly, had it been he did that, does it think, and Mr. Sowore, do you think that you would have made any significant impact in the Nigerian political space today? I'm asking this question most especially because of people that want to come out maybe under the umbrella of your party, or they want to come out as mentees to you. Do you think such people would make any impact if they do not have the federal might, they do not have the power that be above, and they are just like the only wheat amongst the corn? So do you think there could be a vivid or significant impact that they will make?
Thank you. I asked you a question before I answer the question. Did you consider the election free and fair as a presiding officer where you presided over the election? Did you see a free and fair election?
Of course, we know that elections in Nigeria, there has not been
that's
any
not
that
my
is
question.
free.
That's not my question. I'm not asking you to indict yourself.
It definitely was not. It wasn't.
That's then I'll answer your question. So, you see, it is part of what they do to us. That's what I started this conversation with. People that have been pummeled over 60 years by the system we are all fighting against today, that we want to unleash our anger on and depose. The first thing they do to you is your self-esteem. And when they destroy your self-esteem, even a PhD holder will be told that, why didn't he start as a Dangote driver first if he wants to make it in life? That is what the system does to you. It reduces you to nobody. People who are asking that, they're asking a guy like me or you who had a first degree, second degree, traveled all over the world for 20 years, set up a business that is thriving, even though things are hard, an entrepreneur. I can call myself one because I set up a business 14 years ago that became slightly successful. They're asking you that I should be a legislator under a president who cannot produce his first degree, who cannot explain what he wants to do to the people, who cannot attend a presidential debate, right? Who doesn't know his left from his right. That is what the system does to the mentality of the oppressed. They reduce them to nothing. And the first person to tell you not to aspire to be great, because their entire life, they have been handed inferiority, inferiority. They have now started to live under a complex known as inferiority complex. They have been defeated as a person or people from inside and outside. And their self-esteem has been replaced with something different. And they are the first to tell you that why didn't Mr. Sowore go to the legislative house? Now we go to the legislative house. If I go there, what do you think will happen? You know yourself already that I will be probably the only voice there who will be saying, and my colleagues will gang up and remove me from the legislative house, and they will ask you to go to court. And by the time the courts are done with the case, your tenure is over. I can tell you how many people I have reported on as a reporter who were dealt the same blow for being different, including the idiot Dino Melaye when he first went to the House of Reps. His clothes were torn into pieces. He was beaten and roughened up with another lady and a bunch of them in those days. Under Saraki's 8th Senate, there was one Boko Haram senator that was removed from a house because he opposed them openly. He was the one who raised the issue about Dino's certificate. He was expelled from the Senate by Saraki and the rest. Under the last assembly, there's one guy from Kano, I don't remember his name now, who was opposing them. They removed him. In broad daylight, they didn't give him fair hearing. But I'm not defending. The reason I didn't ask to go to the house is not because I'm afraid of being removed. It's because I never aspired to be a lawmaker. I've always that if I'm going to aspire to a position in this country, it will be to preside over the country so that my ideas, as bright and as powerful and as punchy as they are, can see light, not to be covered up with a bullshit in one radical end of a building in a National Assembly. I've never aspired to be a lawmaker. Never. And I've never regretted and never in any way thought that the best place for me to go is the National Assembly or the local government. If anybody feels that that is all they aspire for, we are 200 million people in Nigeria. Let them go to where they aspire to go to. Maybe some people are aspiring to be class captain. That's not their problem. You have to respect the limits of their aspirations. That is the bandwidth of their thoughts about leadership. Maybe some of them fairly and in all honesty don't feel like they can perform anywhere else better and above the people they see in the House of in the National Assembly or State House of Assembly or chairman of the local government. That is their right. What I'm trying to tell you is that the fact that somebody wants to become natural progression to the position of president is not local government chairman, followed by House of Rep, followed by chairman of the local government, followed by governor, followed by senator. If that was the case, Donald Trump could not have become the president of the US because he was never a local government chairman. He was never a senator, never a member of Congress. In fact, we don't know that he had any political office before he contested for presidency. The same thing with Obama. Obama was just a senator for, he was a State House of Assembly member in Chicago, in Illinois. And then suddenly, after that, he was, for a few months, I would say, was a senator before he became president. So if you look at the job description for president of any country, there's nowhere there where it said you must have this year number of experiences or that you must have been senator or local government chairman or class captain or SUG president. None. So, but that's my aspiration, and I've always maintained this. But most importantly, we keep insulting ourselves with these questions. When you tell a guy who is 50 years old, I'm going to be 50 next year, that I need to go and become local government chairman first to govern Nigeria that has 200 million, when Obama and Bill Clinton, even Kennedy, J.F. Kennedy, became president of the US with 350 million people, an economy that is in trillions, when they were below the age of 45, 46, 47. So So why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we insulting ourselves with this repetition of inferiority complex? When they say that to me, I always ask, if Sowore is the senator who is going to be your president, you can never answer the question.
Mm.
Never.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sowore. Thank you very much. I love your response to that. Timla, you want to say something else?
Oh yeah. So like I said in the question, like it is not a direct question to him. So I was trying to ask this question about especially people that rose up under AAC in 2019, and I know that many of them, especially a friend of mine in Poland, I think he ran in the Jebu local government. I've forgotten exactly where in Jebu local government in the Jebu. So he wanted to go for House of Assembly. So I was wondering if there was no AAC governor or there was no AAC president eventually in 2019, how would an AAC House of Representative member or House of Assembly member cope in the state and national assemblies respectively?
The question is a very good question, but it also and it was answered by your initial question, which is that does Nigeria permit people with a different mindset to coexist with people with whom they have ideological disagreements or positions? No. So if you present an AAC candidate, I know the person you're talking about, you're probably talking about Kunle, who had always been my friend union in this state before he left for Poland. You see, it would have been a fantastic idea to have an AAC uh, State House of Assembly or member of the House of Rep be able to espouse their own ideas on this platform. But because we no longer practice democracy in the real sense of democracy, nobody stands a chance. In fact, nobody stands a chance winning an election where you presided over the election because the major parties have already put thugs there. The police is conniving. Everybody is working together in against the interests of democracy, free and fair election. So if our president had won, we would have stood by him. But the question, like I said, is would he have survived one day over there with the kind of political intolerance that we have, the domination of politics that we have, and the fact that if a guy is not careful, he will be bought over if he's not sound and committed and focused. He will be bought over within a short time. There have been cases where these little small parties win elections and then they go to the State House of Reps or State House of Assembly in particular. Within 2 weeks, they have been bought over. They renounce their party. They join one of the major political parties. But that was not going to be the case of AAC, particularly referring to this your friend and who is, well, he's a mutual friend of ours because I know him very well. He wouldn't have done that. But the question is, he couldn't have won the election that you presided over, even if he was the best candidate. He stood no chance of winning that election because it had been rigged against him from inception. Even as the presiding officer, if you were going to put stubborn in Ijebu where you were, you would have disappeared or never to be heard from again. Because that's the kind of politics that these guys have brought upon our nation, Nigeria.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sowore. And where is Tunde? Okay. Tunde, are you there?
Seems like someone dropped off.
Yeah. Okay, I think
Can hear you.
I'm not sure if Tunde is there yet. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I can hear you. All right. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes,
Yes,
I hope you can hear me.
loud and clear.
I can hear you
All
loud
right.
and clear.
Mr. Shura, I will. Let me first start by. Yeah, let me first start by saying that I'm deeply impressed that you are making such a great stride to cause a kind of a change from the narrative of Nigeria. And secondly, let me say that I'm also deeply humbled to share the same alma mater with you, which is the University of Lagos. Having said that, if we look at the status quo of things in Nigeria, we'll discover that it will be a little bit, or if I say a little bit, it will be very difficult for anybody to uh, any good man, let me put it that way, any good man to have win any elective position and be able to push things around within the system. Why do I say this is that when you look at the National Assembly, let's say we have two Senate people in the National Assembly out of about 360 House of Rep members and 109 senators. It will not work. So now I haven't understand that the present system that we are running in Nigeria is not sustainable. It will not work for the future of this country. And the revolution now thing, ever since I've heard of that revolution now, the main question in my mind, and I want to pose to you now, is that what is the main content, what is the specifics of this revolution? Since the one we have at hand cannot work, and if anybody decides to vie for an elective position, there's every possibility that the instrumentalism of government and other apparatus within the state powers will not allow such individuals to win as against whatever they may be preaching. So I want to know, and I want you to tell Nigerians what is the content of that revolution that we can benefit from on the long run.
Before we start thinking about the benefits, let's think about the sacrifice that needs to be made for this to happen. The revolution is for me, and as I want people to understand it, is to press the reset button for the operating system of Nigeria. The operating system as it is now has run out of memory, RAM space, and it's no longer working for anybody. I'm using the computer device analogy to describe this to you, and we need to press a reset so that we can install new applications on the democratic system that meets the tenets of real democracy in every sense and ramification of it. And a revolution will do that job. And revolution is an internal or external revolt that says to people, enough is enough, and we are no longer satisfied and able to cope with the current system that is stifling and suffocating, asphyxiating our people, asphyxiating our aspirations and our democracy. See, yesterday, I've had to answer this question severally. And the first thing I say to people when they ask, what is a revolution? Is that I say to them, you know the meaning of a revolution. Just tell me that you are worried about engaging in a revolution. There's nobody who doesn't know the meaning of a revolution. Because if you don't know it, you knew what they did in Mali recently. People came out in their millions, and their president had 2 more years to go. But he said to them, it's like a contract. We had a contract with you for 4 years to provide us water, food, take care of our foreign policy, national security, and you are not able to do it. We want to terminate the contract. We are tired. We don't want to continue with you anymore. You are the captain of the ship. The ship is not moving anywhere. We want to change the captain, or we want to change the ship itself. We are tired of passing the ship, always leaking, and it's about to sink. We want to move on to other ship, or we want to dock this ship, repair it completely, overhaul it before we start sailing again. That's what the revolution is about. Most of you know the meaning. It's very easy. Google helps you. But the reason why people keep asking, what kind of revolution do you want? What kind of revolution do you want? It's because people are, expectedly apprehensive about the sacrifices that are needed. Would it lead to somebody going to jail? Could it get somebody killed? Would it be bloody? Would it be peaceful? So in between, they are trying to find a comfort zone where they can operate. I wish I can tell you that yes, this is a revolution is going to be completely a certain way that fits and suits your comfort. But there's nothing that would encompass the level of change that we want now that will be totally comfortable for everybody. No, I'll be the first to admit that. We will have to work and overwork ourselves to lift the burden off of our shoulders and chest that has been imposed on us for 60 years. So the revolution is the one that terminates this burden that has made it impossible for young people like you to get a job when you get out of school, made it impossible for you to get great education, to be able to, without knowing anybody, getting admission, going to hospital that can treat you, have your children grow up in safe, sound, and physically good environment. The ones that allow you to travel on roads and see development that you desire actually happen in your country in your lifetime. And when you can't do that, at least do that for your kids and generations yet unborn. When I first met Paul Padumo, he told me this very interesting story of how well he has traveled. I think where he's traveled, I think now he's in the Middle East. He didn't say he's surprised, but my impression is that he's surprised at how easy things that are difficult to get done here get done by people in other places. How you wake up and you see a sign that says, "Oh, there's going to be 100 kilometers highway. It's going to be completed in 2 years." And you get to 1 year, it's completed. They even project beyond their abilities. And so there's going to be a train line from here to Badagry, and it's going to take 4 years, and in 2.5 years, it's completed. In Nigeria, if they tell you 2.5 years, it's going to be 20 years before it's completed. I telling you, I have been watching Lagos Ibadan Expressway for more than 20 years. That they are not even constructing a new one. It's just to fix it. Just to fix it. They will fix it up to a place. It will look nice, and then they will leave it. Then they will go and fix the other place 2 years later. By that time, the place they fix is destroyed. So that's the kind of country we are. We are in a shambolic state. Sometimes I find it difficult to keep telling people that we don't even need to explain to ourselves why we need a revolution. We don't need long Turenshi, as Hausa people call it, long grammar. We know what to do. We know what is wrong with us. Probably we are afraid of we are afraid of doing what we should be doing to put an end to it. And the longer we are afraid of it, the longer we stay like this, the worse the situation gets.
All right, I appreciate that response, because you said that we should first talk about the sacrifice we all have to make, and that is what I keep telling people on a daily basis, that if we want a change, a new Nigeria, then there's a sacrifice for all of us to be made. Let me quickly ask just one more question so that other panelists can as well be able to ask you a question. The 2013 or 2012 confab, the national conference under President Goodluck Jonathan, I want to ask, if the report of that confab is implemented, will it be a better place to start, or there will still be a need for an higher degree of revolution?
Oh, that confab was not designed to solve any problem. It was designed like every other confab. Every confab that the Nigerian government puts in place, or presidents, we've had many of them. I think under Abacha there was a confab. I'm not sure if there was a confab under Obasanjo. I think there was. Yeah, there was some confab. I think it was led by Nikki Tobio. Not a put-up panel. Towards the end of Obasanjo's tenure, when he wanted to extend his tenure third time, he had a confab too. So when Jonathan came, he set up his own confab too. Jonathan's own confab was meant to aid his second term election. So you have to differentiate between the basis for this confab and what they are there to achieve. But most importantly, it's representation. In the Jonathan confab and Obasanjo's confab, if I remember correctly, he handpicked most of the representatives to the confab. So it wasn't the people's confab. So you cannot use the outputs of such confab to determine the future of Nigeria. Like I keep saying, the world is expanding exponentially and dynamically today. You can't use what you used 4 years ago to cope with today. Look at technology, and I keep going back to devices that we use. You know, by next week or next month or next year maximum, iPhone will come up with another phone device that we have better capacities. When I came out of, before I went into detention, which was 5 months, which was 2019, right? I had a phone that had two cameras. Two cameras. That's the phone I'm holding on to you now. And I thought there would be no phone with two cameras until the next year. I came out and somebody was trying to take a picture of me when I came out of detention. He already had an iPhone that had three cameras. I think now there are phones with four cameras, right? Why am I using this to tell you? You can't even use the decision taken 4 years ago to guide the future of a country in a world that is dynamically evolving every day. So if we are going to have if we are going to move Nigeria forward, we cannot use decision taken by Jonathan's people to move Nigeria forward in 2020. We have to create completely brand new, ground level playing field for new representatives, youth of different sectors of society, labor, and people who are tech savvy, because technology must also play a role in how we are looking at the future. Sustainability must play a role. People who went to his conference didn't know about cars that are not using petrol. Now we are talking about solar energy in flying planes, and you are still talking about Jonathan's constitutional conference that took place 6-7 years ago. So they can't fit into the evolution and the dynamism of the world now. We need brand new coming together if they let it happen, and proper representation of all the nuances and a different kind of ambience. It's completely different from what you saw in Jonathan's constitutional conference. Because it was Jonathan's constitutional conference. If you look at all the people in front that day, I don't know if you've seen the picture, most of them were asleep throughout, they slept through the conference, all those traditional rulers, old people. Some of them even died in Abuja while the conference was ongoing because they were not
process.
a bunch of sick people. I'm not saying that being old is, but I'm just saying that I'm just giving you some of things that I observed during that period and why I felt like it will be a starting point for us. Again, we have to press the reset button and start all over again.
Mr. Omoyele,
Okay,
thank you so
Mr.
much.
Sowore.
I
Yeah.
think I will.
If you guys don't mind, in getting involved in this, I thought we could get things done in about an hour, and I have events lined up. Paul, I told you this. Some of them I prepare for, some I don't prepare for. But there's a lot going on in my life every day here, as you know. So if we can be thinking about wrapping up, please, with due respect.
Okay. Yeah, we give the people that are here to ask you questions a few of this, and we'll make it quickly. Okay, Mr. David, you're next.
Oh,
Hello.
hello.
Good afternoon.
All right.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Thanks to everybody on this platform, and appreciate our guest speaker, Mr. Omoyele Sowore. So thank you very much for everything and for all you're doing. And I have the questions. What can we do for all about those that are in the corridor of power? These people, they were not elected, but because of what they are gaining from these politicians, so they lobby themselves into the corridor of power. And it's difficult for an ordinary citizen to outsmart them or to do something reasonable in the sight of the nation because of these people. So what can we do to get rid of them so that ordinary man can speak? Because these are the people that defend this politician we're talking about. Even these politicians, they are not on Facebook. Some of them are not on Twitter. But they are people, they are right there defending them. So what can we do to get rid of them? They are in the state, they are in the local government, they are everywhere. So secondly, this revolution is a thing that I'm really into it. But what can we do to gather another set of agitation? Like this Odudua Biafran, for instance, Odudua Biafran revolution now. And this October 4th that is coming ahead of us, what can we do to make sure that people don't see only Omoyele Sowore? That is not what it's meant for, but that is how some people now saying, oh, that is Sowore things. No matter how we explain to them, they don't want to understand. So what can we do and who are we talking to so that we can gather the momentum we need and to preach this message to people so that they will not see it as South versus North or the Igbo, Yoruba, they're against the North. So what are we doing every day to make this clear to people? So I don't know if you can talk on that.
No, thank you very much. One of the things that has to happen is constant political education, constant conscientization, and it happens through mobilization. And mobilization is not something that is, perpetual. You have to test your soldiers from time to time. When I use the word soldiers, I'm using them advisedly. All these agitators from time to time in protest. For instance, I give you an example. When we started revolution now in 2019, before we could even start, I had been arrested. So what made a difference was that I was arrested, but it still went ahead, but it was limited. In 2020, August 5, 1 year after, I was still wearing my trousers, right? When I heard that 15 cities had risen and started fighting the government, it became headline the next day. Even the press did not expect it. And if you look at even currently what we are doing, we did an online protest the other day on Zoom. It's never happened before in Nigeria that people protested. But it was our own digital response to mobilizing people who could not physically participate. And at the point, it was close to 500 people in attendance. When it was uploaded to Facebook on Sahara Reporters, a day after, it had reached 458,000 people.
Exactly.
Tells you that level of interest. People are still watching them to tomorrow, even on YouTube and our Facebook page on Sahara Reporters. So we have to keep mobilizing people. The number of people that believed in revolution in 2019 have increased geometrically in 2020. Because in 2019, their response was to go to Google to find out the meaning of revolution. In one day, over 5 million people searched the word revolution on Google. You can go and find out.
You're right.
Because of what happened in 2019. In 2020, they are no longer searching. They are trying to participate. So online that day, people were asking us, where can I join? Where can I join? And if you were on, because we were trending on August 5, a lot of people were disappointed. So why didn't you have the Port Harcourt revolution, and so I could join. And Kano and Kaduna, places that we couldn't get to in terms of organizations that have enough people, were willing to join. Now we have all those cities and states and towns and villages in the basket. Because why? We did not stop mobilizing, you know, instead of agonizing. So you have to keep educating people. You have to keep talking to them. And that's why sometimes, even though I have my concerns about religion, I learn something from them, particularly the people they call Jehovah Witness. If they come to your house this Saturday, you drive them away.
They
You
still
will
come
not stop
again.
them
Mm-hmm.
next week Saturday without they are awake.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask them, why, what are you still looking for? The moment you open the door small, they will put a leg in it and start speaking to you. By the time they come the third time, you will let them in now, and then you become friends with them because of persistence. We have to sustain the tempo. We have to be persistent with explaining to people because you see, a lot of people want to see Nigeria change, but not many people want to leave their comfort zones or make the
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice. Because what we know is that anytime you go out to protest, police will shoot at you. And honestly, nobody would like to die. Nigeria is bad enough. People are just hoping they can survive and survive, and one day they can get out. Or mentally succeed, as I usually use and Paul repeated today from the place, so that you can have your own cocoon where you live and nothing touches you. So that's the way it is. We have to keep working. But I think that if August 1st becomes really successful, the mobilization you are doing will become also equally successful. Because then you discover that on August 2nd, people will ask you to continue. And that's how it started in Mali. It's how it started in Sudan. In fact, it started in Sudan with some female doctors. They were gathering in corners in Sudan and saying they want revolution. They make fun of them. They were making fun of them. Some of the people will see them, they will drive past them and say, go and marry. It's because you don't have
Mm-hmm.
husband. That's why you have time to be protesting. One day, what started with 10 people became 100, it became 1,000, and one day it became 1,000,000. And a leader of Sudan that had been in power for how many years ended up in prison as we speak. The leader of Mali, who had 10 more years to spend in office, has ended up first in prison and now he's in hospital. He just had a major stroke that he's not likely to survive. But had the people not pushed, had people just kept using excuses to buy time, it would not have happened. So you have to make the push, you have to make the sacrifices. And it's the reason I brought when I came out of detention, I came out and said to people, look, it left to them alone. I'm telling you this. They were hoping that I'll run away. I'll just arrange with somebody to take me to Cotonou and I'll find a way out. Maybe I'll be hanging in Ghana and find my way to America to my family. So that when other young people come out in the future, they say, look at you now. So we don't run away now. Instead, we go run after some time. Maybe just a look at. I told them I'm not going to run away. This is my country. It's the reason I didn't change my citizenship. I'm a Nigerian. 20 years in America, I never went to where they're applying for citizenship because it's not as if I love Nigeria more than other people. It's just that I cannot withstand what these people are doing to this country. And I don't feel like it's the right thing for everybody to run away from Nigeria for them. And I've had a share of my I've had a share of my running away. I spent 20 years in America, mostly in and around New York City, the biggest city, one of the biggest cities in the world. So there's nothing else out there that I forgot that I need to. There's nothing I need to show to the world. I've traveled widely. I've had kids. I've been married. I've done what 10% of our brain can do very well. I've gone to school. I've acquired 2 degrees. What else? So as they say in Nigeria, we die here together.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that comment and answer, and I hope that every one of us will keep doing what we know how to do best. Um, I know one day we will attain the victory we are looking for. Revolution now. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sowore. I quickly go to ask you some question. We still have about 10 minutes to the winning Mr. Sowore expresses to you. So please quickly.
I continue with my question.
Can you hear me?
Who's
I can
next?
hear you. I can hear you. Good evening, Mr. Shure, and thank you for your time here.
Thank you.
Before I will ask my question, I want to get a clarification. A
Go ahead.
Now, can I consider you now an activist or a politician?
I'll say the use of the word politician has connotations in our own culture. When they call somebody a politician, they are stylishly saying that you are a liar, you are a thief, and a dishonest person. That's the connotation here. You know, because
Okay.
if you owe somebody money and he doesn't pick your call, when he picks your call, say, why are you playing politics with me now? Because automatically you regard that person as someone who is playing games.
A liar.
I've been,
Yes.
I've been an activist all my life. There's no reason
Okay.
for me to add politician to it. You don't have to be a politician to get involved in electoral politics or partisan politics, as they call it. You don't have to be a politician.
Uh,
You just have to be a citizen of the country. Yeah. And I'm answering this question to advise on the meaning of politician in Nigeria's context, or to respond
now,
to it.
I'm asking that question so I will know if what we are going through, I mean your followers, people that believe in your struggle, that believe in your ideas and are buying to it day by day. So what are we going with now? Are we going with revolution now, or we are looking at still running for office?
We are running for freedom because you cannot run for office without. It's just like asking that you want to drive over a lake and you have no bridge built over it. You are going to end up at the bottom of that lake, no matter how great you are as a driver, except you are driving an amphibious car, and there are not so many of them that I know about. What is the bridge that will lead us to running for election and winning election? A disruption of the current, corrupt, incompetent, dishonest, and wicked political process that keeps good people away from becoming leaders that they deserve to be. And what is deserving of the leader is for you, instead of walking around with wads of cash, to have you be able to espouse your ideas and win election and help your people. But people who win elections in Nigeria are people who only have wads of cash but without ideas. I think there's a Kenyan professor who said it. His name is PLO Lumumba, who said people with ideas don't win election and people without, yes. There's a way he put it. I don't remember precisely the way he said it now. So that is where we are going. But this movement that we have built is the bridge to that opportunity that you are talking about. So that you will not come back in 2023 and say that, oh, we should have done what we needed to do to change the system before we start running for office. Like every other person, I could go and hide too. And when it's 2 weeks to election in 2023, go and print posters and start disturbing you again. And Timileyin, who will not be a presiding officer then, but knowing how the electoral process works, will say, why is Sowore so stupid? He should have known that he can't win this election because the electoral process doesn't allow for people like him. But if the process as it is, this oppressive system is demolished, is deposed, we can negotiate what happens next. It will be on our own terms. We can you might even be running against me in 2020 because you'll be so confident in the transparency of the electoral process that you say, Showore's ideas are too old. Like he's too old anyway. He's 52 years old in 2023. Me, I'm still younger than him. I'm going to run against Showore. And you'll be completely all right. Nobody would then tell you that you should go and start from local government because your ideas will be quality enough to be president. You know, who was the guy who first introduced us? The guy with the radio voice. You know, I was listening to him, and his voice, honestly, was flawless. And I'm looking at, probably there are millions of guys like this. His introduction, I was like it was sweet in my ears. Even though I hate to be introduced, I didn't want him to stop because of the way he was presenting it, and it was just flowing. It was like poetry. Nigeria has people like him, and then you go and appoint Buhari or select Buhari to election, and then you are wondering why your country is like that.
Can I get that now. Now, in form of advice now, or to contribute to that, can I advise that you make your presence to be known not only on social media, but right now you are in Abuja. You can make good use of that by appearing. I know you are not a religious person that much, but if we want to get some people, if because for revolution and for election, is we need numbers, and these numbers are in the market, they are in churches, they are in mosque, they are in gatherings. So I want to employ, now that you are in Abuja, you're on ground, you should make your presence to be more known and offline.
I completely agree with you, and we've been doing that. Last 2 weeks, I I had I went to a group of pastors to talk about politics, and the argument that is natural quickly degenerated into religion, and they were asking me my religious purpose in life. And by the time I finished the preaching, defending myself, they told me that I was better than so many of their pastors. So I can easily compete with any pastor on the pulpit. I trust me on that one. But I agree with you. We should do more. But don't forget that I'm also under a bunch of legal restrictions, even in Abuja, that we don't need to repeat here or rehash here. But I agree with you. And but we've been reaching out a lot, and we hope all of you are doing the same wherever you might find yourself. Let's just all be who we can be. You don't have to be another Chiwere, but you can be yourself. You can just build upon the little I'm able to do, and we can do better. There's no time that people make these suggestions that I am opposed to them. We can always be better than what we're doing. We can be bigger than even some churches when we get there, but we can even get bigger faster when we win some victories in the next few weeks or days.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Sowore. I would like to read this statement. I saw somebody. In fact, Michael, whom you said you love his voice, he called my attention to it earlier today. He was one of the media persons of Buhari that posted it on Facebook, and I read it quickly. You probably may have seen it anyway. He said, I have to charge all of you to defend the government vigorously and to allow irresponsible and politically motivated activists to keep spreading patent uh, falsehoods about this government. Information to the public and should be better packaged. Go on the offensive. We are proud of our achievement, and we should blow our trumpets. That's President Muhammadu Buhari. 8, that's yesterday. So I want to say, Mr. Sowore, is it possible, because Mr. President is asking his ministers and cabinets to go on the offensive, all right, or against the people he termed as a political activist, all right? So, and I'm now putting it to you. Are you scared? And do you think people who believe in revolution now, or people who are in one way or the other, are acting, even if acting as opposition or protesting against this government, do you think they should be scared? Because, you know.
Yes. Thank you, Paul. How many of you know Sonny Ade very well? Most of you guys, right? There was a song he sang, I don't know which year, he said, Èmi náà ń bá wí yẹn o, Ọlọ́run mi. Ṣó wá máa wò wọ́n níran. Of course, they are talking about me in saying this. So, but let's just dissect it this way. The fact that after a year and a half, after about 6 years in office, they still can't figure out the achievement to the point that they have to be advising themselves inside the chambers of Aso Rock, the council chambers, to go aggressive on people tells you their level of confusion. They are confused. These guys are completely confused. They are overwhelmed. They're just putting up what they call boat face. You know, it's just like trying to make it sound like, you know, they are in charge. You know, anybody who used to be an activist or who is mistakenly thought to be an activist, a person of conscience, who loses direction to the point that people like Kayamo are now, the way I address them is to address them as Festus Kayamo of blessed memory. You know, they have transited into another world. And that would be my answer. There's nothing to it. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. This is to show to you that what we are doing is effective. Because our number we are.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sowore. I'm very, very grateful. I have a list of questions here that I probably would love to ask.
You know, I have to run. I
but,
have people waiting for me for my next
1 hour
meeting.
It's
been an hour and a half, more than that
right.
almost. I have to run any moment from now, please. You know, we can do this again as frequently as we want.
Yeah.
You know, you and I are close, and you have made me more friends now, and I appreciate all of you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sowore. Thank
all
you.
Right.
Keep doing what you do.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your comments today.
Thank you so much.
Great questions, and hope to see you again. Aluta continua Victoria Sata.
Victoria Sata.
Yes.
No.
Thank you. Viewers, we thank you. We want to appreciate you for coming to participate in this discussion. We seriously enjoyed Mr. Sowore. I hope he will join us. I mean, he has promised even that he will be joining us soon. We can always reach him, and we are expecting that any other person who will be interested in this kind of communication, please reach out to us, and we will keep having this discussion because I think it is compulsory. All right. So I was still going to ask Michael earlier, but Michael is no more here. To ask before we go, I'm going to have David and Alade Okomo from Nigeria. All right. I want to ask you people, how do you deal with internet and connection? How do you manage? Tunde, you can quickly.
All right. The issue of network efficiency and of course the pricing of data in Nigeria is so absurd, if I have to say that. And why I say that is that there are times that you buy data as expensive as it may be, and you will not even get a value for what you have paid for. In a circumstance where you get maybe 1 gig at the rate, one gigabyte at the rate of 500 naira, and some part of it, there are some conditions attached to it, that you have to use some part of it in the night, some part of it in the day, and there are times that time bound that is attached to this data that you have purchased with your money. And at any time at will, these network providers can decide to take away this the service. So it is crazy and absurd, if I may say. The issue of data management, it boils down to not only the internet facility alone, even the data management itself that we have once talked about on this platform. We have a very less value for data management, data acquisition, data quality in this part of the world. And it's just a shame on about over 200 million Nigerians.
Mr. David, you want to quickly say something about that before we
Yeah,
conclude?
I actually I'm not. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Okay. Thank you so much for that
Yeah.
question. I
yes.
actually, I'm not calling from Nigeria, so I'm in Florida right now. But
Okay.
basically, with what is happening in Nigeria, everybody is aware of it. So you don't get value for what you pay for. As I'm talking to you right now, I'm expecting another provider to switch my internet. It's not that the one I'm having is not good, it's serving me. Everything is okay. I connect all my TV and all the room, all the gadgets. But I can switch anytime I like if anything I find is not comfortable, maybe price or anything. So here, data is not an issue. So you get what you paid for. Even at times, if you convert it, we pay less here compared to those that pay in Nigeria. For instance, here you can pay maybe $45 or $50 for a month, and you use it as much as you want. You stream live, you do everything. Even on the go on the street, you still connect with your Wi-Fi. But it's not the same thing in Nigeria. I remember when I traveled to Nigeria 2014. So I subscribed normally. I didn't know that when you are not using it, you turn it off. I left my phone on.
Hmm.
So after my data finished, they switched to my to my
Balance.
normal charging. They started every of my cash in the phone, my calling credit. Everything within 1 hour, more than 5,000 or 7,000 was disappeared. I don't know. So I think it's something we have to deal with in that country. We have to work on that. I think so that people can have access to much data and
Honestly.
watch this program. Because many people now, as we watching, how many people can use their data normally, if not for occasionally, to watch program of 1 hour, 1 hour 30 minutes. So I think it's a thing we have to look at. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. David. I was actually, pardon me, I thought maybe your number, I thought maybe when I saved your number yesterday, because there were a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
people that were supposed to have joined from,
Oh,
but my concern was how are they going to manage to stream live, to attend a stream live event for 1 hour. So,
exactly.
because I just keep feeling for them.
Mhm.
Anyway, thank you guys. And I'm asking that for those who are business minded, who might be watching this, please let us find a solution to this, because I don't think Nigeria life. This is one of the things that we solve, provide solution to. As much as we want to solve the problem of electricity, the internet also should be top on the
It's a
list.
big problem.
Thank you so much,
Exactly.
everyone. Timilayi, thank you.
Thank you.
Truly, especially you and especially those from Nigeria, kudos to you.
Abby,
Kudos,
kudos to
kudos.
them all. We
Thank you, Mr.
appreciate you
Omi.
guys.
So we'll be, thank you. So thank you, viewers. You can watch this all over again. You can send it to your friends for them to be able to see Mr. Shore's response to various questions. We will be live soon with various other topics and the personalities. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
A
Thanks.
pleasure.
Bye.